travelers, it's your adventure podcast hostess with the mostest, Katie Staples. Join me for travel stories, tips, and tricks to help you explore and make unforgettable memories. Follow along on Instagram at the.great.escape.podcast and subscribe to the YouTube channel so that you can be the first to hear new tips. We're here to talk about adventure, growth, and occasionally doing things that make people say, "You did what?" So today's episode is all about something that sounds intense because it is. We're talking about Misogi Challenges, where they came from, why they're powerful, and how choosing just one brutally hard thing can completely change the trajectory of your year and honestly, your life. If you've ever felt stuck, bored, complacent, or like you're just capable of more yet don't know how to access it, buckle up, friends. This one might light a fire under you. Because here's one thing, you're sitting on so much potential, and most of us were massively under indexing in what we're capable of doing. We've convinced ourselves we're not that person, or we're not ready yet, or maybe someday. And yet, what if someday could be now? Will it be one day, or will today be day one? Let's pick one thing, one defining challenge that proves to yourself just how capable you really are. That's what we're diving into today. Let's go. Okay, so first things first, what the heck is a misogi? The word misogi comes from ancient Japanese Shinto traditions and it literally means water cleansing. Picture this, Japanese monks standing under freezing cold waterfalls, not for fun, not for Instagram, and definitely not for likes. It's to test their mental toughness, discipline, and resilience. The idea was brilliantly simple. If you could remain calm, focused, and present while your body was literally screaming at you to quit, you could handle just about anything life threw your way. It was like pressing Control-Alt-Delete on your entire body and spirit, a full system reboot. Now, fast forward a few centuries and enter modern thinkers like entrepreneur Jesse Itzler. You might know him as the guy who's run ultra marathons. He's lived with a Navy SEAL for a month, and he co-owns the Atlanta Hawks. Jesse took this ancient concept of misogi and brought it into personal development culture for the rest of us. Here's how he describes it. Do something so hard one time a year that it has an impact on the other 360 days of that year. I'll say that again. One thing, one time a year. One thing that's so challenging, so far beyond what you think you're capable of, that it ripples through every single day that follows. So what makes something a modern misogi? The rules are deceptively simple. Number one, it has to be extremely difficult. Not just hard, really hard. The kind of hard that makes you question your sanity. Number two, it requires months of preparation. You can't just wake up tomorrow and knock this out. You get to do training, research, and planning. Number three, it has about a 50% success rate, meaning you genuinely might fail. And that's the point. If you're guaranteed to succeed, it's not a misogi, it's just a goal. And number four, most importantly, it doesn't kill you because dead people can't build life resumes. Safety first, people. So those are the rules. Hard, life-changing, don't die. Now here's the part I love. A misogi happens on one defining day. You circle that date on your calendar and you train for it. You show up for it. And whether you succeed or fail, that day becomes a defining marker in your life story. You know how some people say, oh yeah, 2018, that was the year I got married, or 2020 was COVID. Well, with a misogi, you get to say 2025 was the year I hiked Mount Whitney solo, or that was the year I ran 100 miles, or that was the year I finally launched my business. It's a memory anchor, and friends, those matter. So you might be thinking, well, Katie, that sounds like a goal. What's the difference? Great question. Let me break it down for you. Here's where people get confused. A misogi is not a New Year's resolution or a vague goal like get healthier or something you already know you can do. A misogi is a single defining event with a specific date. It's something that genuinely scares you and pushes you. It's a challenge where failure is a very real possibility, and it's an experience that fundamentally shifts your identity. All right, so why would you willingly choose to torture yourself like this? Fair question. Let's talk benefits. First, your confidence. When you deliberately choose discomfort and survive it, when you look fear in the face and do the thing anyway, everyday problems suddenly feel smaller. The difficult conversation you've been avoiding, not so intimidating anymore. That project at work that feels overwhelming, you've literally climbed mountains. You've got this. Confidence isn't about feeling ready, it's about proving to yourself that you can do hard things even when you don't feel ready. Second benefit, discipline. Here's the truth. Motivation is trash. It shows up when it wants to and disappears the moment things get hard. Yet a Misogi forces you to train when motivation is gone, to show up when it's cold, when you're tired, when every part of you wants to stay in bed. You learn to do hard things without waiting to feel ready. And that skill, that translates to every area of life. Third, Benny, is clarity. When you're training for something genuinely difficult, your priorities get real clear real fast. Suddenly, scrolling Instagram for an hour doesn't sound as appealing. Staying out late drinking on a Friday night? Nah, you've got a long training hike in the morning. A Misogi forces you to make choices. It helps you identify what actually matters and what's just noise. And lastly, it's an identity shift. This is the big one. You stop seeing yourself as someone who hopes or tries, and you start seeing yourself as someone who does, someone who achieves. You become the person who summits mountains, who runs ultra marathons, who launches businesses, who writes books, who takes on challenges that most people would never even consider. And once you see yourself that way, everything changes. The months leading up to that day matter just as much as the day itself. Because as you prepare, as you train, as you research, plan, and push yourself week after week, you're becoming the person capable of completing this Misogi. You're expanding your personal definition of what's possible. And after that day, whether you succeed or fail, you're not the same person anymore. You've proven something to yourself that can never be taken away. Jesse Itzler talks about this beautifully. He says that after running 100 miles, something he thought he could never do, he realized, I took that 2-mile body and ran 100 miles. I realized that after the race, I was underperforming 50 times in this category of my life. So in what other areas of my life am I underperforming as well? Think about that. What if you're capable of 50 times more than you think you are? What if the only thing standing between you and an extraordinary life is your willingness to pick one hard thing and commit to it? Okay, so you're listening to this and you're thinking, all right, Katie, I'm intrigued. How the heck, though, do I choose my Misogi? I've got you. Here's your framework. Ask yourself these 4 questions. Question 1, does this scare me a little? Not like terrify you to the point of paralysis, yet definitely makes your stomach flip a little when you think about it. If you're totally comfortable with the idea, it's not big enough. Question 2, will I need months of preparation? Look, if you could do this the next weekend, it's not a Misogi. You should need to train and research and plan and prepare. The journey matters just as much as the destination. Question 3, will this challenge me physically, mentally, or emotionally? Or ideally, it will challenge you all 3. A Misogi should push you beyond your current limits in a meaningful way. And question 4, will completing this change how I see myself? This is the most important question. Will you walk away from this experience fundamentally different? Will it shift your identity? Will you tell this story for the rest of your life? If the answer to these 4 questions is yes, you found your Misogi. Here's some great examples if you're still having some trouble coming up with one on your own. Good Misogi challenges include things like running your first marathon, or for your first ultra marathon if you've already done marathons. Climbing a major mountain, think Mount Rainier, Kilimanjaro. Writing and publishing a book or launching a podcast. Maybe starting a business and making your first sale. It could also be giving up a destructive habit for an entire year or permanently. It could be public speaking at a major event or conference. It could be completing a multi-day backcountry trek or paddling expedition. Maybe volunteering intensively for a cause that matters to you. Remember, if you can do it next weekend, it's not a Misogi. And by the way, Misogis don't have to be physical. One entrepreneur chose to read and thoroughly analyze 100 business books in 100 days, and it fundamentally changed how he approached his work. Another person decided to perform street magic for strangers every day for a month to overcome social anxiety. It's not about what everyone else thinks is impressive, it's about what pushes your edges. So let me tell you about my Misogi challenges, past and present. My 2024 Misogi was launching this podcast. Now, you might be thinking, Katie, that doesn't sound that hard, yet hear me out. It wasn't just recording one episode. It was committing to showing up consistently, learning audio production, finding my voice, putting myself out there publicly, and dealing with the vulnerability of sharing my thoughts with the world. I overcame imposter syndrome. I learned new skills. I pushed through weeks where I wanted to quit because it felt like no one was listening. And I did it. And it changed how I see myself creatively and professionally. I'm no longer someone who wants to have a podcast someday. I'm a podcaster, and that's an identity shift. Now, fast forward to this year, 2025. My Misogi Challenge was hiking Mount Whitney solo in one day. In case you don't know, Mount Whitney is the tallest mountain in the lower 48, sitting a little over 14,500 feet. The hike is 21 plus miles round trip. It's brutal elevation gain, and about 2/3 of people who attempt it don't succeed. I trained for months. I researched altitude sickness. I planned my nutrition, hydration, gear, and timing. And on that one defining day, everything came together. Was I scared? Absolutely. Was it hard? Beyond words. Did it permanently raise my belief in what I'm capable of? 100%. That's the power of a Misogi. If you're interested in that hike and what it was like, my video play-by-play is episode 35 of this podcast. Now, here's my favorite part. A Misogi isn't about perfection. It's about commitment. You pick one day and you honor it. You prepare like it matters. And whether you succeed or fail, you walk away changed, because the real win isn't the summit. It's who you got to become to even attempt something that scared you. It's the discipline you built showing up for training runs when you didn't want to. It's the confidence you gained by proving you could do things you once thought were impossible. It's the clarity that comes from making your challenge a priority and cutting out everything that doesn't serve that priority. That's what a Misogi gives you. And the cool part is, imagine if you're only 30 years old now and you do one Misogi challenge every year until you're 70. That's 40 defining moments on your life resume. 40 stories that you get to tell, 40 experiences that expanded who you are, 40 days where you prove to yourself what you're really made of. Friends, that's how you win at life. So here's my challenge to you. What's one thing? One defining challenge that scares you just enough to matter. Not something safe, not something convenient, not something you'll try when you have more time. Something bold, something that makes your heart race a little bit when you think about it. Maybe it's a mountain, maybe it's a marathon, maybe it's writing a book or launching a business or giving a TEDx talk or committing to a year of sobriety. Whatever it is, I'm gonna ask you to do 3 things. Number 1, name it. Say it out loud, write it down, make it real. Number 2, circle a date. Put it on your calendar, give yourself a deadline, make it non-negotiable. And number 3, start becoming the person capable of completing it today, not tomorrow, not when you feel ready, today. Because here's the truth. You will never feel ready. You will never feel prepared enough. There will never be a perfect time. And you know what? You don't need to be ready. You just need to start. And if you do, if you commit to this, if you train for it, if you show up on that one defining day and give everything you've got, I promise you this. Your future self will be so freaking glad that you did. You'll look back on this year and remember it as the year you stopped playing small, the year that you stopped waiting for permission, the year that you decided you were capable of extraordinary things. And you'll realize you always were. So go do it, friends. Pick your Misogi, circle your date, start building a life resume worth telling stories about. That's it for Misogi Challenges. Hey, what did you accomplish in 2025? And what's your Misogi for 2026? I would love to hear from you. Find me on Instagram at the.great.escape.podcast and send me a message. And don't forget to hit subscribe so that you can follow along and dream big for your journeys on The Great Escape. See you next time, adventurers.